So if I have timed everything correctly, this video should be out when either Shi Huang's banner is coming out or is already out. So hopefully I got the timing correct so I can put this video out so people can get some ideas as to whether or not they want to summon for this guy, and this is a complex video for me to make. Not because the character itself is really complex. I mean, Shi Huang is just really good. He's the best solo servant in the entire game, and I will take that one to the grave. But the problem is that this is the year of Castoria, and you really want to be saving as many Saint Quartz as you possibly can for Castoria, because it really is one of those account changing things that you can get. Now, sure, you can get by with one Castoria, and you could bring your friend Castoria and maybe get by with your own Paracelsus or a Nero Bride if you have them. But it's just like the struggles of having no Scotty right now on the NA version of the game. Look, I've been having no Scotty for the last 2 years, and it sucks. So you best believe that I'm going to be trying to go ham when Castoria comes out. And that's why it's hard for me to say whether or not that free-to-play players should be summoning on this banner or not, because on one hand, you should be going for Castoria, but on the other hand, if you have Shi Huang, you really don't need Castoria because you just solo everything in the game. On the other hand, though, soloing is really slow and doesn't really help you out when it comes for farming. So I guess at that point, it really just does become a matter of how good your account is, because soloing is really strong when you don't have a very strong box, because Shi Huang can basically solo everything in the entire game, but there are definitely boss fights you can do in 3 turns that are way faster than this man having to solo it. But you may or may not have those characters available on your box, and that's kind of the good and bad things about soloing content with these really strong characters. Thankfully though, Shi Huang does function really well as a servant who loves to have support types around him. There are specific solo servants that don't want anyone near them. They want to be left alone, like Enkidu or Old Man on the Mountain. They do not want to be bothered by anybody. They want to solo the content by themselves. Leave them alone. Namely, a lot of those servants want to be solo because they need their full deck at all times. They can't have like a random Merlin quick card getting in there, because it really messes up their entire game plan. So, long intro aside, we're going to be talking about Shi Huang today, and whether or not you should be summoning for him or not. And really, it just comes down to, if you summon for Shi Huang, are you going to still be able to go ham for Castoria when she comes out? If you can still go ham, if you have enough Saint Quartz saved up, then by all means throw a couple multis at this man, because it's well worth it. He's strong as a solo servant, but he actually likes having supports around him. Specifically, as an art servant, he would really like to have characters like Castoria and Tamamo around him as well. So if you have Tamamo and you're planning on summoning for Castoria, which who isn't, you can actually get more use out of Shi Huang. But before we begin this video, your boy does the daily FGO content grind and would greatly appreciate a like on the video and a subscribe to the channel. It is a free way to show your support for what I do, and if you want to go that extra mile in showing your support for the channel, and another free way, I'm affiliated by all means with LD Emulator and Loot Cakes down in the description down below. Main question that I get all the time is no, you will not get your account banned if you put it on an emulator. FGO is pretty chill about having people have accounts on emulators and whatnot. Just keep in mind that if you're on an iOS account, you want to make sure that you have no Saint Quartz left on your account when you transfer over, because LD Emulator is an Android emulator, so I don't want anybody to lose their Saint Quartz. You can transfer when you have 0, but don't transfer when you have like 37 Saint Quartz, because they'll get deleted because you're going to a different OS type. Finally, if you want more content, I stream every weekday over on the Twitch, link down in the description down below, and if you want bonus content, you can click that join button to become a channel member. Was kind of slacking because I was on vacation, but I'm going to get back on the channel member content grind. But with all that being said, the long intro aside, talking about the philosophy of a solo servant in the game FGO, let's go ahead and talk about Shi Huang's hits, which this is either going to be really important or not as important, depending on if you're using him as a solo servant or not using him as a solo servant. If you're going to be using him with people like Tamamo, really you're just going to be arch chaining all day, because Tamamo, Waver, Castoria, the standard people that you want to bring to an art setup, they already have a triple arch deck, and Shi Huang with his double arch deck will have a very easy time getting arch chains and just kind of firing off his NP whenever he wants. But if he's a solo servant, essentially all you got for this guy is you're just using the arts and quick cards. That's pretty much all you're pressing. unless you have a really good turn of buster cards where they have like guaranteed crits and you have built up his crit damage. That's really the only time you're ever going to hit the buster cards, because if you're soloing with him, the name of the game is to get to his NP every single turn, and as soon as you fire off the NP the first time, you should be just arts looping every single turn to basically have yourself an invincible ruler that just can't die unless the enemy has pierce invincibility, in which case you might be a little bit boned. The hits on all of his cards are actually really strong. I mean, 5 hits on even just one quick card is really strong, even though his star gen's only at 10%. Just because of how strong that quick card is, he will actually generate a decent bit of stars for him to play around with, but if you're not satisfied with the one quick card, you can slap like a 20-30 or something on him if you really want to help his star genning ability out. The NP charge per attack is really going to be the main thing you want to focus on, because the arts cards are the name of the game no matter which side you're using them on. That 0.47%, you might think that's a little low, but then you got to look at the hits on the arts cards where he has 4 on both of them. And since his style of gameplay is this immortal ruler that likes to just smash people with crit damage, critting is kind of the name of the game for him. And so as long as you can get crits on those arts cards, you can pretty much just guaranteed refund your NP every time you do an NP chain. Unfortunately, since they gave him really godly arts cards and a good quick card, they had to make the extra attack suffer. They only had to be the 4 hits, so I guess he's not absolutely perfect. If you don't know why that's a big deal, the extra attack is basically a composite card that gens stars NP and does big boy damage. 5 hits is the ideal gold standard. Anything above 5 hits is broken. 4 hits is just kind of average, so I guess they were like, we got to bring him down to earth a little bit. We can't have him be super broken. Let's only give him the 4 hits on the extra attack. But now with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the skills, because the skills and the NP for this servant all just work in like perfect unison to make this guy as good as he can possibly get. There's only a few things that I think he's lacking in his kit, and we'll talk about that as we get to the end of the video. But starting off with skill 1, he first gets an AoE NP drain that reduces all enemies' defense by 20% for 3 turns. Now, you'll kind of notice that all of the skills are on longer cooldowns. They're all on a 6-turn cooldown, which isn't exactly super long. I would say when the skills start to get to like 7, 8, 9 turns, that's when it's kind of debatable as to whether or not you'll ever see the skill again, because you might get blown up or finish the fight by the time it comes back. And then 5 and lower, especially 5, because you don't really see 4-turn skill cooldowns all that often unless it's on like a gimmick skill. But 5 is kind of like, that's a good skill cooldown. 6 is in the middle, right? It's not too long, but it's definitely not short. And so that's why I really think that he benefits if you want to bring supports from someone like Tamamo, who can really help guarantee that he's going to be getting his skills more often, because this skill is already really powerful. Having the ability to control when the entire enemy party fires off their NP is already insanely strong, and then they threw him a little bit of bonus damage on top of that. Now, they couldn't really make it super insane, because if they had him lower all of their defense by like 40%, I mean, you just bring double Shi Huang and just obliterate everybody with crits. But it is still nice because he has different avenues for getting more damage, and this is the first part in building up how much damage he can do to the enemy party. Then we move on to his second skill, where he has a 70% chance to stun the entire enemy party for 1 turn, and then this is where you start to see his damage build up, because now we have him reducing the entire enemy party's defense by 20%, and then giving himself a 30% attack buff for 3 turns. So we're already starting to build up the damage here, and we also have 2 really good ways to guarantee his survivability, because now he can control when the enemy fires their NP, and he has a 70% chance to stun the entire enemy party, which will buy him a turn and is very crucial in some turns where you're like, oh, I just missed out on like 5% NP, bam, I fire off this skill, I stun the entire party, or I even just stun 2 of the enemy party members, and it just buys me that crucial bit of time that I need. Because do keep in mind that as a solo servant and also as a ruler, he's very, very tanky. I think the ruler class in this case, usually I say, is kind of like a shaft, because you're never really using the ruler class offensively. It's one of the main things that I'm like, Shiro Amakusa really could have used being like a saber or something, so he could at least get type advantage in some scenarios. But Shi Huang being a ruler makes him just insanely crazy as a solo servant, because against most classes in the game, he has type advantage against them and they can barely do any damage to them, on top of him controlling when they fire the NPs and missing out on turns because he stuns the entire party. Finally, we move on to his third skill where he gets a 50% battery, removes all of his debuffs, and gives himself a 3k heal. And this is just a nice cherry on top when it comes to all of his skills. Now, the one thing that I really wish was on this third skill was a star bomb. I wish he dropped like 30 stars for himself to play around with here, because spoiler alert, he doesn't do that on NP either. And it's really the only weak part in his skills because he pretty much does everything he needs. When we get to his NP, that pretty much completes the kit. It's just he's kind of missing a way to immediately gain access to a lot of stars. Because especially this would be really good for turn 1. If turn 1 he could guarantee himself 30 stars and already start doing the crazy arch chains turn 1, he would actually be stupid dummy broken. I mean, he's already really good as is, but that would just take him to the absolute next level. But still, the 50% NP charge is insanely good even as a solo servant, because usually you see a 50% battery and you're like, oh well, like, they're not a farming servant, so it can't really be that good. No, it makes him really good because there's a lot of really good CEs in the game that start you off with 50% charge and give you bonus effects, like say the Jolter crit CE, right? The one from the Christmas event. Like, even that's just a decent thing to slap on him because he can use those effects, and then now he also can just guarantee fire his NP turn 1. So while I do like running like 20-30 on my Shi Huang whenever I want to run him, there are other CEs that you could slap on him, even stuff like a Maximum Broken Magical Girl of Sapphire, if you want to just guarantee that he's going to be able to fire his NP because maybe you don't trust his NP gaining ability, you want to get it really consistent. Stuff like that is really good. And again, it's just crazy that he has a 50% batter to give him synergy with all of those insanely good CEs. And then really, it just also means that this guy almost can't be stopped by anything because he removes debuffs, right? The only other thing that I wish he had was debuff immunity, because it does mean the only thing that can stop Shi Huang is if he gets charmed or stunned, and that's really his only weakness, because for whatever reason, as a ruler, he doesn't have the magical resistance EX skill that like Jean has, even though again they're both rulers. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. So the two things I would love to see this guy get in the future is 30 stars, like just immediately being able to drop that, whether it be on NP or preferably on skill 3, and at the very least 3 instances of debuff immunity. I'm not going to ask for like 3 turns of debuff immunity because that'd be really broken, especially as a solo servant that's going to be taking all of the debuffs for those 3 turns, so then it just makes it extra broken. It just makes it even better. So I'd love to see both of those things to really just kind of complete his kit, because when we look at his NP, this is just a bunch of good stuff. I mean, he gives himself invincibility for the turn, he taunts the entire enemy party to himself, he gives himself 50 to 100% crit damage depending on NP level, gives himself decent star weight for 3 turns, and buffs his attack by 50 to 100% depending on overcharge level. And this is why he's kinda crazy, because even if you wanted to use him in a party with people like Tamamo and stuff to properly support him up, he still provides immense support to them by just drawing all the damage to himself, being immune to damage for that turn as long as they don't have Pierce Invincibility, and then he just becomes a Giga Chat after that, because remember that even at Overcharge 1, where he's getting 50% attack, he still has the 30% attack buff on skill 2, lowered all enemies' defense by 20%, and at baseline NP1 is getting a 50% crit buff, which is the same buff that Waver gives to people, so it's not a bad crit buff. But if for whatever reason you have this dude at NP5, or you can find an NP5 Shi Huang on your friends list, he's getting a 100% crit damage buff. That is Merlin's crit damage buff. That is the quick crit that Scotty gives to people. That is an insanely good crit damage buff that is for free on 3 turns if you have him NP5. So suffice to say, this guy is already really good. He does a very strong job at soloing the game. It's just they put a few cracks, a few weaknesses in his armor to guarantee that he wasn't just the most broken servant in the game. But I'm telling you guys, if he specifically gets the 30 crit stars on one of his skills, again, preferred to be on skill 3 since you're going to pop that anyway for the battery. And the reason I want it to be 30 is so that if he gets both of his arts cards, you can easily guarantee that they're both going to get crits on them. Because if it's 20, there's still some RNG as to whether or not they would go to some other cards, right? At least that gives you a lot of leeway to be like, okay, that you can at least probably get both of the arts cards to like 70% if they're on the field. which if you're using him as a solo servant is going to be all the time anyway. And then the debuffing me needed to make sure that he doesn't get stomped by anything, like he just can't get stomped by charms or stuns anymore, and I think that makes him absolutely broken. So is he worth summoning for? I mean, he's definitely a servant that is worth summoning for. He is definitely good enough and worth the value of your Saint Quartz. You literally just gotta ask yourself, can I take some Saint Quartz away from my Castoria fund and put them onto Shi Huang? If yes, then by all means go ahead and summon for this guy. If no, save your Saint Quartz, because this man will continue to get raid ups. This is not the last time he ever gets a raid up. He will be back. Just make sure you don't shaft yourself for your summons on Castoria going for this guy. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Would love to hear what you guys think about Shi Huang. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace, late guys.